Just bringing our legal team, Chief Legal Analyst Dan Abrams, Kate Shaw, Professor of Constitutional Law at Cardozo Law School. Welcome to you both. Let's start out by talking about the witnesses today. The Democrats clearly think, Dan, that William Taylor is going to be their star witness.
Right. I mean, look, both these witnesses are going to express concern about what they saw, at the very least. Taylor even more so. Taylor used the word crazy when he was texting with some of these other diplomats about exactly what was happening here. The question's going to be, do the Republicans try to suggest what Taylor is saying isn't true, or are they going to say it doesn't matter? And I think that's the key distinction there, meaning doesn't matter would be he wasn't on the calls, he's unelected, what he thinks shouldn't be relevant. Is he lying? That would be a separate line of questioning.
And it is going to be hard to attack his integrity.
I think that's right, George. So this is somebody who's had 50 years in government service, West Point military service. He served Democratic and Republican administrations. And this is not someone I don't think who has sought the spotlight, right? He is testifying, at least as we saw in these depositions, out of a sense of obligation to speak to what he witnessed. And as Dan said, he was deeply troubled. Remember, he's still the #1 diplomat in Ukraine. And so he had a real on-the-ground perspective, and he was very concerned about what he saw.
And Dan, as we head into this, we're starting to see a sharpening of the strategy for the Democrats. We talked a lot about high crimes and misdemeanors being an impeachable offense. What we're hearing more now from the Democrats, including the chairman, Adam Schiff, the word bribery.
Right, because they don't want this to just be that kind of vague abuse of power, right? People say, what does that mean? And is that a crime, et cetera? Not necessarily questions that have to be answered for an impeachment proceeding, but a question that the public seems to want answered. And so I think the Democrats are trying to crystallize it to say, let me be specific about what the allegation is here. The allegation is that the president was holding up money that he wasn't really even permitted to hold up because it was approved by Congress, and he was doing it in exchange for something of value to him. And they really are going to want to keep hitting that again and again with someone like Taylor. Now, remember, there's also Kent who's going to be testifying today. And I think one of the most underreported things about Kent's testimony is that he believes that Trump's position on Ukraine changed after talking to Putin. He testified that he talked to Putin and the Prime Minister of Hungary, and after those conversations, that Trump's position towards the Ukraine became much more aggressive.
And the question, Kate, is how will the Republicans choose to defend against all this? We just heard John Carl say that it looks like the White House is just going to call this an entirely partisan process. Any other good defenses available to them?
So they could focus on the procedure. They could say that the president hasn't been given sufficient opportunity to respond, that the Republican witnesses aren't being called, at least all the witnesses that they would like.
The president himself is withholding witnesses as well.
Sure, right. So that's, I think, one of the holes in that argument, right? They could say, look, this military aid that's at the heart of this was ultimately released, and so kind of no harm, no foul. But I'm not sure that's a very strong argument either. If this plot was thwarted, the plot is the problem, right? And so the ultimate release of the aid, I'm not sure it provides a complete defense. I think they're still searching for a unified
And they'll say
strategy.
these two guys never talked to the president.
Right. And Dan Abrams, Kate Shaw, I know you're both going to be joining us later this morning. Our live coverage starts at 10 Eastern right here on ABC and ABC News Live. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.